Times have changed. Fighting has changed. But the crowd, they never change.
Our main event tonight features pain!
They just get bigger. The human body can only take so much. But the steel never stops.
This is what it's all about! Let's make some money!
Welcome back to Attack the Schlock with Dobbs and Brock. Today we went and saw Real Steel, or as I like to call it, the Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie. What do you think?
Well, I guess as far as Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie is concerned, it didn't really live up to my hopes for a Rock'em Sock'em Robots adaptation.
Yeah.
Which wasn't really in earnest in a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie, but that being said, I still was hoping for some exploding heads or some heads popping off, robot heads just flying through the air. And we only got one of those, and it was okay. But I was really hoping for the climax to be a big exploding robot head.
Yeah.
We didn't get that. But I guess just to start with some of the things I liked about it, I will say that there were periods of time that I was really enjoying myself when I was watching this movie. From the start, I was a little confused. I was kind of thrown off by the introduction music. It was kind of like this Nick Drake sounding kind of folk music, and I was like,
that was a little
weird.
Yeah.
Are we in the right place? Are we in the right movie? And but then, as this you kind of got into the characters, I genuinely kind of was interested in Hugh Jackman's character, even as cliche as it might have been. But I did really get into some of the battle scenes and some of the dialogue and stuff. It had its moments. Definitely had its moments.
Yeah, if I would have took my brain out of my skull, I think this would have been an awesome movie.
Right.
Or if I was maybe 10 years old,
Yeah.
this would have been a great movie.
Yeah.
As it was, I didn't hate the movie. There's by no stretch of the imagination did I hate this film, but it was like I said to you in the theater, 15, 20 minutes into the movie, I was like, okay, I know exactly everything that's going to happen in this film. And I was right. And this was probably the most formulaic movie I've seen in a long time. I could name 10 different sports movies that all have the same plot as this.
Yeah, it's really true. It panders to just about absolutely every expectation you could have for a boxing movie or just a sport movie of any kind, and it runs very much in that course and not in the science fiction course, where
No.
the science fiction aspects of this could have been really interesting if they developed that world, but they didn't. They really kind of left it as a sports movie, and it's pretty shallow.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Really shallow.
I mean, it definitely. I tried to take my brain out. I did. At some point, I realized, like you said, about 20 minutes in or something like that, I was kind of like, okay, I can plot the rest of this movie out, up through the very end, and I would have been pretty close. But
there was one thing too. I timed the montage within
yes.
1 minute.
Yes.
I was like, oh, here comes the montage.
Yeah.
And I had to wait 30 seconds or so. I was a little off. And then they're like, bam, montage.
Right, but then they did have a longer montage later on.
Yeah.
A battle montage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's definitely pitch perfectly placed montage, sports montage. So yeah, but I mean, okay, I was gonna go with the science fiction thing because all the sports stuff was really intact and it was very felt very Rocky.
Yeah.
You know, and even the boxing stuff. There are times when some of the boxing stuff felt out of place. You know, Hugh Jackman gets his hood on and he runs outside like he's gonna get back into training because he's an old pro, and that felt kind of like just contrived. But where I wish they'd spent more time was with some of the actual science fiction concepts, like what is the history of this, like, robot boxing, like where does this come into play in the course of human history, like what is the importance of it, and like, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, you know, I'm not expecting like War and Peace or anything, but I'm expecting just something to make it real, because if there was some grounding in reality, I could have invested myself in this thing and enjoyed it a lot more. And a lot of the things that we were kind of talking about, like the inconsistencies, were like production design things that just I really hated.
Yeah, and then like there were some things I was questioning about, like the Evangeline Lilly, like, who had said like, oh, he's a Generation 2 robot. Those didn't come out until 2014. Well, that's only 3 years from now.
Yeah.
So what, Generation 1 starts now? They're already making these things, or?
Yeah, and she says that he fought for some championship in 2007, which means that like actual human boxing became extinct sometime after 2007, but before 2014.
Which would be like now?
Yeah, it makes no sense. So there was just no grounding in any kind of reality that you could follow, which was just dumb.
Yeah, and then like we'll talk a little bit about the production design, because that was kind of a problem. Like, they have like these cell phones that look kind of futuristic, and like his GPS in his truck, and his truck itself like looks futuristic, but anything that goes just a step beyond any of the main characters like looks just like everything today, and it looks very plain, and like even his Dr. Pepper can like looks like they just went out to the store, bought a 12-pack of Dr. Pepper, and was like, okay kids, slam a few of these.
Yeah, they didn't do anything special with like the labels or anything. That's like, I don't buy that. That's so distracting to me. And I think I guess I don't know if the average moviegoer would be stopped by that or not, but I definitely was. I was just like, what? Wait, what year is this supposed to be, first of all? And like, if that's if like in the future that's supposed to be a throwback to the can that we have now, then it's still just really goddamn distracting. Like, well,
even all the other product placement too, though, at the big fight scene at the end, like where they would do those long pan shots, and it's like all of this product placement going on. All of the logos look just like they do now.
Right. Yeah, and I actually, there was a point when I thought about Idiocracy, and how like Idiocracy in that movie, they spent a lot of time developing how those things might look. Yeah. You know, and like I just think that that's really clever and smart, and like what a great opportunity to put a good production designer in there. Yeah. And they totally missed it. And the one thing that just really killed it for me was he's driving that truck, which is designed in this really cool looking truck. And he pulls into this parking spot, and there's just a row of cars that are they just look like they were parked there. They're not special future cars. They're not like special future cars designed to look like modern day cars. No. They're just cars, and it's just sloppy work.
It was pretty sloppy, pretty lazy.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about something that didn't bother me, that I thought would bother me. I hate children in movies. Mm-hmm. Like, I absolutely just hate children in movies. And it goes back to Jake Lloyd.
Yeah.
And
I'm a person, and my name is Anakin.
This kid did not bother me.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, he was pretty good. I have to say there was a lot of really nice kind of, you know, heartfelt moments in there between him and Hugh Jackman. There was a good charisma, or a good, you know, relationship built there, and I mean, I thought all of the performances were pretty decent, really.
Yeah. Evangeline Lilly, like, she's kind of just thrown in there for eye candy, I think. But she is good. I was pretty happy that most of the time, like, she wasn't wearing much of anything. Clearly. I mean, but she was good in the movie, and she's believable. And even the one guy, the cowboy guy, like, who beats the crap out of him and stuff, like, he was good too. And I've liked him in just about everything I've seen. And there wasn't anybody that was really bad except for the villains. Mm-hmm. Like, the villains were kind of like paper cutouts. They were pretty bad.
They were really bad, and they were really bad in the way that, like, we talked just briefly about, like, how there's some really loosely, like, poorly hashed out metaphors throughout this movie, and one of the prime metaphoric aspects is that the villains are these, like, foreign, rich, genius masterminds that have built this, like, insanely technologically perfect thing, and the Americans, they're like, they're coming out of nothing, and they're just like really struggling to make it. They don't have any money, and they're using this kind of like homegrown, like old clunker, American built, like Ford car type thing. And it's really bad. It's really cliche, and I mean, I'm sure audiences will eat that up.
Yeah, what did they even say? What did they call him at the end of the robot? It was like the people's robot,
the people's
champ, or
people's
something,
champion, yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, just terrible. And audiences do eat that up, and that's the thing. The people who made this movie were very aware of the audience that they were going for, and so I did feel very pandered to and very talked down to the whole time, but it's very easy to make a successful movie in that formula. Yeah. And for what it was a success, I think.
I think so.
And overall. That doesn't mean I necessarily loved it, but it did work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll ever see this movie again.
No.
But at the same time, I didn't walk out and then be like, oh my God, that was like the hardest 2 hours I ever sat through. It was nowhere near like that bad. But it's not anything to like really remember either.
Yeah, and I hope to God they don't make a sequel. I really do.
Yeah.
But, God only knows. They're making a Farmville movie, so anything could happen.
Well, unless you have anything else to talk about.
I think that's it.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for our next reviews. We're really trying to struggle through After Last Season, and that review will be up shortly. But,
And next week we're trying to do The Thing, right?
Yeah, and next week we're gonna go see The Thing, and I've got a lot of other like really bad schlocky movies set up to cater to all those people who love bad movies like myself. But we started off with the worst movie ever made, and it's just been hard to get through.
It's indescribable. The trailer is posted on this page.
Yep.
And we have a Twitter page now, so follow us on Twitter.
Yes, please do. Thanks for watching.
See you next time. Bye.